Concerning news from the CDC. The agency says H5N1 bird flu samples collected from a severely ill patient in Louisiana showed signs of mutation.
I'm going to begin this video by saying Jesus is coming again. Friends, please listen to me. This is not a religious jargon. This is not just a religious soundbite. The reason I say it is because it's true. And the Bible tells us right before Jesus comes, there will be signs in the suns, in the moons, and in the stars upon the earth, distress of nations with perplexities. Men's hearts are going to fail them for fear. There will be famine, pestilence, and earthquakes in diverse places. All these things, Jesus tells us in Matthew chapter 24, verse 8, are the beginning of sorrows. And we're going to try to answer one question today. Is your name written in the Lamb's book of life? Okay, let's get to the video. Report. First, severe human case of bird flu in a patient hospitalized in Louisiana. A person in Louisiana has been hospitalized with bird flu in the country's first severe human H5N1 infection. This is the name of this virus, according to Center for Disease Control and Prevention. The patient is experiencing severe respiratory illness related to H5N1 infection and is currently hospitalized in critical condition. The CDC says the patient was likely exposed to the virus from a backyard flock, which will mark the first time such a flock has been associated with a bird flu infection in a U.S. residence. Let's take a listen to some of these videos, what the experts and the news is already reporting on this one situation.
The CDC says the bird flu has mutated as a 65-year-old patient in Louisiana is suffering the nation's first severe infection.
And it's not there, but California worries me because of all the spread in cattle in California. That's absolutely unprecedented, and that's why we have a level of alert here, and we need to be vigilant.
Concerning news from the CDC. The agency says H5N1 bird flu samples collected from a severely ill patient in Louisiana showed signs of mutation, differing from the samples collected from backyard flock believed to have infected the man.
We can actually show our viewers some of these numbers here. Now, confirmed total reported human cases in the United States. You can see it across the dairy herds, poultry farms, and then one other animal. Not a huge number there, but obviously troubling. What do you make of it?
Let's start with that mutation. How does that work, and is there cause for concern tonight?
Well, thanks for having me.
Sure.
And what we know from this case in Louisiana is that this patient, when they sequenced the virus, they noted that there were mutations that could potentially make this virus more susceptible to human transmission, so easily transmitted from person to person. Now, that said, there's some really important news here, and that is they sequenced the virus that was found in the backyard flock of birds and the virus from this person, and those birds did not have a mutation that showed any kind of adaptation to humans. So really, this happened in that person, and we think that's really important because it means that what's circulating in the birds is actually not something that's transmissible from person to person at this point. So that's really the important piece of news here. Now, that said, there was some data that suggests that this strain is only a few mutations away from becoming transmissible. So good to keep our eye on it.
Let me sort this out for you, Griffin. I've talked to top officials at CDC over the...
The propaganda machine is right on top of it. All right, that's all I can say about that. That's all I'm going to say about that. I know this video, I had saved it on my X account because I knew sometime in the future I might need to make reference to this video. All right? October. Let me make sure you got the date correct. 26, 2023. Like, why in October 26, 2023 you sounding such an alarm? That's the question that most people were asking. Listen to the man.
Last month, the UN General Assembly adopted a political declaration on prevention, preparedness, and response, underscoring their commitment to meet shared threats with a shared response. The COVID-19 pandemic upended lives and livelihoods, disrupting societies and economies, and exposed and exacerbated political fault lines within and between nations. It eroded trust between people, governments, and institutions, fueled by a torrent of mis- and disinformation. And it laid bare the searing inequalities of our world, with the poorest and most vulnerable communities the hardest hit. The pandemic is not a question of if, but of when, and we cannot afford to repeat the same mistake of the past. That's why WHO's member states are negotiating a new pandemic accord and amendments to the international health regulations to strengthen the legal framework for the global response to pandemics. And we can't stop there. We must follow through with national ratification and accountable implementation. For the sake of future generations, we must not go back to the old cycle of panic and neglect that left our world vulnerable. We are stronger together.
Interesting remark. How did they know so much? That's all I'm asking. We're not conspiracy theorists here. We're just wondering. Are these prophets? Okay, let's take a listen. Listen to these men. How do they know? They're talking about the next P as if they knew these things were going to happen. I'm just asking questions here. Just wondering.
For the next pandemic, we'll solve all those problems.
You say the next pandemic, there will be another pandemic.
Absolutely. We don't know when. You know, the risk per year, 2%, 3%.
The next pandemic, and there will be one. There will absolutely be an outbreak of another pandemic.
We definitively will have to face other surprises, black swans, as they are called, maybe different kinds of viruses.
But also there will be a surprise outbreak.
Most of the work we're going to do to be ready for pandemic 2, I call this pandemic 1.
There will be certainly what we call the black swans, the unpleasant surprises which will come in our way.
Now, you heard the term the Black Swan event. We've spoken about this before and the significance that this could have to bring about the fulfillment of Bible prophecy. So what is the Black Swan event all about? A Black Swan, we are told, event is a phrase commonly used in the world of finance. It's extremely negative event or occurrence that is impossibly difficult to predict. In other words, Black Swan events are events that are unexpected and unknowable. So that's why this is talked about. It was written in the book by Nassim Nicholas Taleb. Here is a video of a CNN personnel speaking about this, a Black Swan event.
Well, mine's a little dark. I just feel a lot of concern that 2024 may be the year of a Black Swan event. This is a national security event with high impact that's very hard to predict. There are a number of concerns that I have that factor into that. Not only this sort of enduring heightened threat level that we're facing, the wars in Israel, also Ukraine, and we're so divided in this country in ways that we haven't seen before. And I think that just creates fertile ground for our adversaries like North Korea, China, and Iran. And that's what concerns me most. All
right, so you've seen that, you heard that, right? So now let's take a listen to Dr. Wen. She is sounding the alarm about this bird's flu and what some of the potential risks could be and things that you and I need to know. And they are already talking about testing people. It sounds like something we've seen before and heard about before, right? 2019, the little C word. So listen carefully to what she says.
What should be happening in the Biden administration right now that isn't going on?
Yeah, there are two main things that they should be doing in the days that they have left. The first is to get testing out there. I feel like we should have learned our lesson from COVID that just because we aren't testing, it doesn't mean that the virus isn't there. It just means that we aren't looking for it. We should be having rapid tests, home tests available to all farm workers, to their families, for the clinicians taking care of them so that we aren't waiting for public labs and CDC labs to tell us what's bird flu or not. And the second very important thing is this is not like the beginning of COVID where we were dealing with a new virus, we didn't have a vaccine. There actually is a developed already against H5N1. The Biden administration has contracted with manufacturers to make almost 5 million doses of the vaccine. However, they have not asked the FDA to authorize the vaccine. There's research done on it. They could get this authorized now and also get that out and to farm workers and to vulnerable people. I think that's the right approach because we don't know what the Trump administration is going to be doing around bird flu. If they have people coming in with stances, could they hold up vaccine authorization? If they don't want to know how much bird flu is out there, could they withhold testing? I mean, that's a possibility. And I think the Biden administration in the remaining days should get testing and vaccines widely available so that at least it empowers state and local health officials and clinicians to do the right thing for their patients.
Dr. Wen, is bird flu in humans super dangerous?
Well, the World Health Organization estimates that in prior outbreaks of the bird flu, that the mortality rate is 52%. 52%. However, in this most recent outbreak, it seems that most cases have been mild, and maybe some people even have asymptomatic infection. But the question is, we don't know what happens when bird flu affects more vulnerable individuals. People infected so far in the US have been mainly farm workers who are working, presumably generally healthy, as opposed to what happens when you get to children, to pregnant women, to older individuals with chronic illnesses. We don't know how deadly, how dangerous bird flu is going to be for those individuals. And again, that's one more reason why we don't want it to spread and acquire more mutations.
You know what's interesting, friends? We have all kind of issues and viruses and diseases plaguing humanity. Some are very deadly. Some people are dying every single day, every single hour, plaguing with a particular disease. It seems like these are not the major concerns. One individual has this bird flu. The media is on a frenzy. Is this a psyop? Is this predictive programming? It is part of the movement. These are the questions you got to ask. Why is this such a focus? Is there an effort to find something to go back to the 2019 mandates as we once had it? These are the questions I'm asking. I don't necessarily know. I'll let you make a decision when it comes to that. Where friends, hearing some of these things, it seems to me GC 589 is being fulfilled all over again. And some of the words that are found in this book, my Lord, are taking place as we speak. Satan's works to the elements also to garner his harvest of unprepared soul. I just quoted this from a recent video earlier today. He has studied the secrets of the laboratories of nature, and he uses all his power to gain control of the element as far as God's allows. That's it. The devil is doing scientific work. And we are told, while appearing to the children of men as a great physician who can heal all their maladies, he will bring disease and disaster until populous cities are reduced to ruin and desolation. This is what we are told. He imparts to the world a deadly taint, and many perish by the pestilence. There you have it. So it could also be true, friends, what the Bible says, Satan is working to bring about the necessary events that will eventually lead to the worship of the beast and the enforcement of the mark of the beast. And God's people will face the same false accusation as Elijah faced during the time of Ahab and Jezebel. And it came to pass when Ahab saw Elijah, and Ahab said unto him, Art thou he that troubleth Israel? And he answered and said, I have not troubled Israel, but thou and thy father's house, in that you have forsaken the commandments of the Lord, and has followed Balaam. As the wrath of the people shall be excited by false charges, they will pursue a course towards God's ambassadors very similar to that which apostate Israel pursued toward Elijah. The chapter went on to say, Satan's policy in this final conflict with God's people is the same he employed in the opening of the great controversy in heaven. He professed to be seeking to promote the stability of the divine government while secretly bending every effort to secure its overthrow. And the very work which he was thus endeavoring to accomplish, he charged upon the angels. The same policy of deception has marked the history of the Romish Church. He has professed to act as a vicegerent of heaven while seeking to exalt itself above God and to change its law. Under the rule of Rome, those who suffered death for their fidelity to the gospel were denounced as evildoers. They were declared to be leagued with Satan, and every possible means were employed to cover them with reproach and to cause them to appear in the eyes of the people and even to them as the vilest criminals. So it will be when while Satan seeks to destroy those who honor God's law, he will cause them to be accused as lawbreakers, as men who are dishonoring God and bringing judgment upon the world. Now you might be asking the question, what am I saying? What I'm saying is the same thing as I've said earlier today. The prophecies of the Bible are coming to pass. Satan is pushing forward different things in the prophecies to create fear and control so that people can give into that fear and essentially give up their freedom. And the reason this is happening, friends, it is because the enemy is looking for worship. He wants to be worshiped, and he will receive worship. The Bible tells us in the book of Revelation chapter 13 that the beast power that was established by the dragon, when the beast receives worship, the dragons get worship. We are told they worship the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. And they worship the beast, saying who is like unto the beast and who is able to make war with him. The dragon here has two applications. He is pagan Rome and also represents the devil. The devil here is the dragon. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon. And the dragon fought against his angels, and he prevailed not. Neither was their place fine anymore in heaven. But the great dragon was cast out. That old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. You see, the dragon, who also become the accuser of the brethren, that is his function. As the calamities and the issues of society are falling apart, he's going to charge all these things upon God's people. The same was done in the past. Every time something was going wrong in the Roman Empire, who did they blame for these things? They blamed the early Christians.
They didn't have official status in the Roman Empire, and there were a series of persecutions, some of which were quite severe.
One of the roles of religion in the Roman Empire was to ensure the well-being of the state. The idea was if the gods were worshipped properly, then they would favor the empire. And if they were worshipped improperly, then they would, bad things would happen to the empire as a result of divine wrath.
They do not want to sacrifice to the gods, and the gods at that point include the emperor.
So it's easy to consider these people religious scapegoats. Basically, if something's going wrong, probably it's because there are Christians around who are refusing to give the gods their proper due. Christians are progressively stripped of their civil offices, their military offices, their books are confiscated, their churches are destroyed, they're forbidden to meet, and so on, all because there's an anxiety that this is really undermining the welfare of the empire.
Basically what Nero did was he fed them to the lions, he had them tied to pillars, he put pitch on them, and then he set them on fire as human torches so they could have the festivities continue on into the night.
Being stretched, pulled into being killed by gladiators.
Just about every creative way that you can dispose of Christians.
And so the Christians spread like wildfire. The more you killed them, the more they stood for their faith.
Tertullian argues, whenever something goes wrong, whenever there's a famine or whenever there's an illness, a pestilence that sweeps through, everybody says, the Christians to the lion. And then he says snidely, as if so many could be fed to so few.
The same is about to happen again. The accuser of the brethren is cast out, who accused them before God day and night. We are told that he's going to go make war with the seed of the woman, those who keep the commandments of God. Those who have the testimony of Jesus Christ, the dragon is rough with them and went to make war with the remnant of her seed. But in verse 11 of the Bible, we are told that they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. Thank God that the power to overcome is found in Jesus Christ. In Revelation chapter 13, verse 8, we are told while the false system of worship is being established, many will go on. The whole world will wander after the beast in false worship, because they will give in to the fear, they will be deceived, and the enemy will get what he wants by the enforcement of the mark of the beast, which is the national Sunday law. We are told in verse 8, all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the Lamb's book of life, slain from the foundation of the world. Now the big question is your name written in the Lamb's book of life? According to Jesus, we are told one of the things that's most significant for the Christian man is not how powerful we are, how good we look, how well we dress, or how well we eat. It's not even about how many devils we can cast out. It's about whether our names are written in heaven. Luke 10 verse 19, behold, I give unto you power to tread on serpents and scorpions and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means hurt you. Not reasoning in this, rejoice not because the spirit are subject unto you, said Jesus, but rather rejoice because your names are written in heaven. This is what we are told, friends. As we draw near to the second coming of Jesus Christ and these events are continuing to increase in frequency and intensity, one of the things that we should be more concerned with, whether or not are our names written in the Lamb's book of life from the Lamb slain from the very foundation of the world. We are told in Daniel chapter 12, and at that time shall Michael stand up, and the great branch which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, everyone that shall be found written in the book.